Hey guys, this video is a quick review over plants and also a more detailed explanation about flowers, which as you know, they are the main reproductive part in a plant. Okay, now before we do that, let's review a little bit about the introduction of plants. We talked about the adaptations of these plants, and these are the three main adaptations that they develop as they moved away from water. One of them was a way to absorb nutrients, and they developed roots to do that. As they moved away from water, they started using these roots to actually absorb the nutrients and water from the ground. They also developed cuticles and stomata to prevent the water loss. To prevent losing the water that they absorb through the roots. They also developed what we're going to talk about today, which are flowers, in order for them to be able to reproduce on land by using pollinators. Okay, so those are three main adaptations of plants. Make sure you know those, make sure you understand what they are, and how they overcame these three things here. Okay, now we also talked about plant responses, which to some factors that we're going to list here, and the first one was light. Right, and we said that plants respond to light in different ways, but the main response to this is growth. When there's light, they grow. Right, they are able to They're able to produce glucose through photosynthesis because light is required in order to do that. So if light is present, they will grow. It promotes growth in plants by allowing them to go through photosynthesis. Okay, the day length also. Plants respond to this by flowering or making their flowers. Okay, so it's kind of like a signal for them that spring is coming, and they start flowering in order for them to reproduce for the year. Okay, gravity. Plants respond to gravity by growing their roots down towards gravity and their stems away from gravity so that they can grow up. Okay, so that's how they respond to that. Temperature. Well, we know that plants grow better at higher temperatures up to a point, just like enzymes. Okay, there's enzymes inside of a plant that have specific temperatures where they work best, and after that temperature, after you go over that temperature, then plants, just like enzymes, start denaturing or dying off, and they won't grow as fast. Okay, so make sure you review your handout that we completed in class or that you completed at home. And make sure you're familiar with some of the responses to these factors here, okay? Now, we said that plants, unlike animals, do not move, right? Animals walk around, we go different places, we go chasing our food, but we can move from place to place. Plants don't do that. They do turn and they change positions, but they stay anchored, and that's what roots are there for. Excuse me. Now, those movements or those turning movements that they do, we call those tropisms. Okay, and the first one that we look at is phototropism. It could be positive, it could be negative, just like you see in this picture. Phototropism is the movement or the turning of a plant towards the light. That would be positive phototropism. If it turns away from the light, then that would be negative phototropism. Okay, another tropism is called geotropism, and this is how plants respond to gravity, just like we said earlier. Positive geotropism is roots going down because of gravity and stems growing up because of gravity. Okay, and that's positive. The roots would be positive geotropism. The stems are negative geotropism. Okay, I'm gonna click on this. Actually, no, I'm gonna post the links on Edmodo. Make sure you watch those videos. Okay, because if not, the video is gonna get a little longer. Another tropism is called thigmotropism, and this is where plants actually wrap around different structures that they touch. So they'll spin around for 1 or 2 days or however long they can until they find a structure that they can wrap around and go up that structure. Okay, and they need that for support because their stems are thinner than other plants. Another tropism is called nastic movement, and this is just movement with no direction. Okay, if just like a Venus flytrap, if the fly lands on the Venus flytrap closes. If the fly lands and flies away, the Venus flytrap is not going to move towards the fly. It's just going to close. So these are movements without direction, regardless of where the stimuli comes from. they're going to move and without direction. There's no non-directional movement. And again, watch the video, please, so you can have more of an idea of what they are. Okay. Now that we talked about some of the responses and tropisms and how plants move, let's talk about the systems. We mentioned this in an earlier video, but we're going to review and we're going to explain a little more about the system. So plants have two systems, the root system and the shoot system. The plant system, the root system, I'm sorry, is everything below the ground. Okay, and it's there to anchor the plant. That includes the roots, and we know that the roots, one of their functions is to anchor the plant and also to absorb those nutrients in the water. Okay, so the root system is there to anchor the plant, absorb nutrients, and to anchor the plant. It includes the apical meristem, which is where all the growth happens. So if we cut this off, then the roots are going to stop growing, at least downward, right? They might spread sideways, but they're not going to grow down. Okay, now the shoot system is everything above the ground, and that includes three major organs. The stems, which we already talked about. We said stems expand and they can store nutrients in them in cactus, right? Leaves and flowers. So stems, like I said earlier, like I just said actually, is there to give plants support. Okay, it holds the branches that hold the leaves that photosynthesize for the plants. Okay, they don't transport, stems don't transport nutrients or water. They have vascular tissue that does that, right? And it runs through the stem, but they're not the ones responsible for moving these nutrients and water. They're just there for support. Okay, leaves, like we said in a previous video, yeah, they are the responsible for going through photosynthesis and making all the glucose that the plants need, right? They have cuticles, they have stomata on the underside to release or exchange gases. Carbon dioxide and oxygen are a great example, but that's what the function of a leaf is. Okay, now flowers, I know we said it earlier, but they are the main reproductive part of the plant. Okay, and they are divided into four worlds. Okay, the first one includes the sepals, the second one includes the petals,